Hi, I'm Jack, and welcome back. This is going to be my review for the newest movie brought to you by the studio A24 called Everything Everywhere All at Once. It stars Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis and Huy Quan and many more, and it is directed by the Daniels, who brought movies like Swiss Army Man. And before we get started, don't forget to follow me on social media. My username is down at the bottom of the screen and in the description below, so don't forget to do that while you're at it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content coming from my channel as we move on throughout the year. And with that said, let's get started. The film follows Michelle Yeoh, who plays Evelyn, and she is thrust into this mission where she must save the multiverse and use her powers from other versions of herself to save the multiverse. I saw the trailer for this movie a few times over the course of this year, and after all the buzz, I had to go see this movie for myself. Even close friends of mine have seen this movie, and they say it's fantastic, and I absolutely agree with them. I was completely floored and jaw-dropped by this movie. It is one of the most creative movies, not only of the past 5 to 10 years, but just in general. It is a very creative and unique movie with the style from the Daniels, and it is a very fun, heartfelt, exciting, and insane movie. The acting all across the board is fantastic. Michelle Yeoh delivers her best performance as Evelyn. I love the humanity that she brings to this character, and I could find ways to connect with her, and I love her dynamic with all these characters, from the husband to the daughter to Jamie Lee Curtis to all the characters that she interacts with in this movie. And Huy Quan, who played Short Round in Temple of Doom and was in The Goonies, made his return to Hollywood, and this is his first big movie he's done that I know of, and he is awesome in this movie. I love what he brings to this role, the charm and all the fun aspect of this stuff. I love him in this movie. There are some action sequences that he causes, that he's a part of, that I absolutely love. He is so fun in this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is really cool here. Watching the trailer, you seem to think that's who the character is, and it just wasn't. The acting all across the board is really great, especially from the daughter, who plays the character of Joy Wang. She is really great in this movie too. Also an important character in this movie, because this movie also has a story theme of mother and daughter, and it is very important to this movie. It's not just a multiverse movie, but it's also a story about a mother and her daughter, and I think that stuff is really great. The action sequences are spectacular. The choreography for them is really smooth. They utilize some martial arts and other action techniques, and even the camera work for how it's framed. You can tell what's going on, and you just feel all the craziness that's happening, and it is super cool to watch, especially from Short Round in this movie. There's some really cool stuff here, and even with Jamie Lee Curtis and Michelle Yeoh, there are some really awesome action sequences here, and they're super creative too. They come up with very creative action sequences for this movie in ways I've never seen before, and I think that is really impressive, and I think it is just so cool to watch. It's very stylish, flashy, very cool in terms of the unique style of everything. It is really cool to watch. It's just so surprising how great this stuff looked on the big screen. It also has a huge, important theme called nihilism, and it's super important in the whole multiverse aspect of this movie, considering who the antagonist of the story is and motivation behind why all this stuff is happening. It is very well depicted. It doesn't come off as cynical. It feels very much well executed by the Daniels, and it's also very creative in terms of multiverse stories. And I think, not going to spoil this movie, and it's going to be hard for me to do so because of a lot of the stuff. And that reminds me, if you've seen the trailers for this movie, you are not ready for the ride you're about to go on with this movie. I was very much surprised by what happens in this movie. It's not what I expected. It is very unpredictable at that. And I love just this whole rules with the multiverse and how these characters use their abilities. It's really creative stuff. And the ways it happens are insanity. It's just, there's so many moments where I sat there just shocked by like how a character has to do this if they want to be able to do this. And I think it is just awesome. It's a very creative and unique way that I've never seen before. and it is super impressive how the Daniels were able to pull this off in this movie. And I think just this overall multiverse thing feels so creative with how it just ties into the story about Evelyn and Joy, and how just life in general, how it has messages about life, and how the themes like nihilism is so crucial to this movie, and especially to our characters and the antagonist and the motivation behind all this. It's very well executed without feeling cynical or uninteresting and all that stuff. It's just very well done. I really liked how all that was executed. And there is a lot of sense of fun to be had. It's a really fun movie too, especially with the action sequences and the theme. It's a very heartfelt movie too. So not only is it a really fun movie, but there are some moments that actually got me feeling really teary-eyed and emotional, especially in the back half of this movie. It is a very emotional film. It's going to resonate a lot if you're a parent because of how important its messages are with life and family. And it is just really impressive and very well performed by our cast. And even a lot of the very weird nature of a lot of the things you see on screen, they don't come off as silly in a cartoonish way. They come off as silly in a way that works with the story, and you can take it seriously in a way while not acknowledging how weird and insane a lot of the stuff they do is. It is a very heartfelt movie at its core, and it is super just amazing. It is still trying to think about how they just pull off this movie so well. It is a very impressive movie. It is by far the most surprising movie I've seen all year, and I don't know how I can see another movie being as big of a surprise as this right here. When it comes to issues, though, nothing major, but I do feel like the movie took a bit to get into because those first 10 to 15 minutes just take its time to develop our characters and who we are following until all the multiverse stuff starts to manifest. And I think it's still good. We get to know the characters and what they do in life and who they are and all, their relationship with one another. But it does just take its time to get to that point to where all the multiverse stuff can start to take form. And so it takes a little bit to get into, but I will say it does not ruin the movie in any form. I had no problem with any of that stuff in the movie because once the multiverse stuff gets into high gear, that's when the movie starts to become wild and awesome and just impressive stuff. There are a ton of moments where the aspect ratio changes on screen. It feels so immersive and so flawlessly edited. It makes you feel so into what is happening on screen. The Daniels crafted a very unique and heartfelt film. There is so much passion and heart and soul poured into this movie. You can just feel how creative and unique it is and how the cast have so much love for the story that is being told because the cast here is excellent. I cannot imagine anybody else portraying Evelyn besides Michelle Yeoh, and the fact that it's just there's so much love here. And even like I said before, even when it is absurd in its ideas, it still feels so personal and so heartfelt and so just full of soul. And it is just such a sight for sore eyes. It is a very creative movie. It's one of the things I love about A24, but I love that this movie, it's their weirdest movie they've made, but there's still so much passion poured into this movie. It's super exciting. It's fun. It's engaging. It never loses my attention. And I just love how this movie commits to that idea. It goes for it. It doesn't go too far with it. It doesn't hold back for what it could do. It goes for what it attempts to do. And it at this point, it succeeds. In the end, Everything Everywhere All at Once is a massively surprising movie. I love the direction from the Daniels. The performances are top notch. The visuals are fantastic, and so is the cinematography. Beautiful stuff. The ideas are so creative and unique and unlike anything I've seen in movies before, especially with the multiverse concept. It is exciting. It's jaw-dropping. It's funny. It is heartfelt. It's emotional. It is very moving. It is an absolutely phenomenal film. So in the end, I am going to give Everything Everywhere All at Once an A+. And I highly recommend you go see this movie on the big screen. I'm really curious to see what the Daniels have from here as directors, because I loved this movie. It is a very flawless movie. Aside from those first 10 to 15 minutes kind of taking its time, it just does not ruin how great everything else is. And it's still very well done, especially for the opening stuff. And it is a movie that I think you should definitely check out. It is especially going to change your outlook on life, because after I left the theater with this movie, I was still in awe over this movie and everything I saw and how it played out. So go see this movie this year. It is so worth your time and worth your money. It is just one of the most creative movies I've seen ever. But yes, go see this movie. Go support it. It is worth your time, and you are going to enjoy every moment of it. And guys, those are my thoughts on Everything Everywhere All at Once. I know I could have gone more in depth with it, but I could not risk spoilers because the trailers give you a sense, but it does not give you a lot of the stuff that you expect. It is very surprising and very unpredictable. So please go check this out while you're at it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more.
To this moment. Don't let anything distract you from it.